Good morning, Young Kings. Time for your morning motivation this morning. Um, Starting a little later this morning. Late start. Um, well, actually, it wasn't a late start. I got up at 5, or tried to get up at 5 this morning. And when I woke up, my leg was in excruciating pain. I couldn't move or anything. I was getting up to try to turn off my alarm clock, and my leg was not having it. And so it was one of those situations where it's like, wow, what do I do? I want to stay consistent and get going, but at the same time, my body's telling me, no, not today. So I laid back down for a minute and then rolled over, and it was just throbbing and just had this excruciating pain in it. And for those who haven't watched the video, I had started back running Friday, and where I was at a quarter-mile track, and what I would do is walk, and then on the last straightaway, I would run down and end up getting to a pretty aggressive sprint by the time I finished. So I did approximately 16 laps there. So that's 16 jogs and sprints down that I did. But afterwards, my leg felt fine. I mean, I felt like it was progressing. I was looking forward to resting it over the weekend, which I did. Um, and then I was looking forward to Monday coming around to really test it some more. So I had big expectations for what I was going to do today, and only to realize like my body is telling me, look, you're not ready for this. Like there's still something going on here, and that it's time to slow down. So I didn't get any indications Friday that my leg was hurting. I mean, it was just normal. I mean, I knew it wasn't all the way healed. Saturday was fine, and Sunday it was just, I started to notice a slight discomfort there that was more than what it had been the previous days. And I hadn't done anything over the weekend as far as running any activity that would trigger it to be that way. But Sunday, and it progressed into Sunday evening, the leg started to ache. Not painful or anything, but just noticing like, hey, I'm back here. So in my mind, I still had expectations that I was going to go this morning and stretch and then continue running. Um, but when I woke up this morning, that leg was throbbing. It was like clutching, and it wasn't like Charlie horse, but it was just um, it was excruciating pain. So I rolled over, laid back down, and then eventually rolled over and got back up and said, all right, it stopped throbbing, and I hobbled out of bed. And then I went up to the track anyway. So I got to the track a little later this morning. I think I actually got to the track this morning around, it'd have been about 5:40 this morning, 5:45, just quarter to 6 when I got up there. And did some stretching, and I ended up walking 2 miles, which, is a lot less than what I'd done before. And I didn't do any running. But even walking, it was like a slow walk. That walk was, it took me 20 minutes to walk a mile. So the total time was just over 40 minutes for 2 miles. And it's a little challenging because, like I said, I was expecting to be running today and progressing. I had, like, all right, about to make my video. I mean, maybe that's arrogant in itself, thinking I'm farther ahead than I am. And we'll come back to those thinking traps that may get people off track. But in my mind and my expectation was that it was about growth. It was about advancement. It was like, hey, we're recovering. We're healed. But in reality, it was like, no, you're not. You still got a ways to go. You're still going through this injury. You need to be better. So 40 something minutes to walk 2 miles. And I remember I was just reflecting, doing a walk down memory lane, and realized, like, when I first joined the Army, I mean, I was so fit. And I mean, the fastest time I ran to 2 miles in was like 11 minutes and 52 seconds, which to me is pretty fast for someone who hasn't run track or anything. It was just like, I ran it to 2 miles. And now to be at a state, now obviously age is creeping in too. So I wasn't expecting to be running in no 11 or 12 minute 2 miles. But back then, that was sub 6 minute miles. So I go from sub 6 minute miles to, man, it took me 20 minutes to walk 1 mile and 40 minutes to walk two. So that's a fall from grace. And like I said, reality sets in that you're older, my body is different, and then on top of that, I'm injured. So there's a lot of things that contributing to that. But even in it contributing to that, my mind was saying I should be further ahead, that I should be doing better. But my body's telling me to rest, and I had to listen to my body and kind of stroll and take it easy. So even in the midst of your injury, you're gonna have to have that discipline to be able to push yourself, but at the same time, give yourself rest. There's a saying out there that says, rest is not a break from productivity, it's a part of it. Like, you need to have a rest regimen, and I know I need to get more rest. You can see my bags are getting worse under my eyes because I don't sleep much. You know, I'm burning the candle at both ends of the stick. And the issue with burning the candle at both ends of the stick, that means I'm staying up late and getting up early. So a lot of nights I don't get a lot of sleep. And I know in order for me to be the best, I gotta get optimal rest. So I need to include rest into my plan to just sit down. But if you watch any of these videos, you know, it's hard for me to be still. So sometimes when I sit down, I'd be feeling like I should be doing something, like just constant movement. So your morning motivation is like you're wounded. And when you wounded, you see through wounded eyes, you hear through wounded ears. I mean, you smell through a wounded nose. You know, it's like your senses are off. So you got to start to question some of the things that you're doing and realize, do you need to stop and take a break and recalibrate and get things situated? Because if you continue to view through wounded eyes, you're going to see, like if your glasses are broken and you're seeing a fraction of what you need to see. You've seen cracks, and sometimes that can be just as damaging if you ignore that you're wounded, and then you still try to operate as though you're not. And that's where, or try to rush that process further along than where you should. And for me, I'm guilty of that. I rush to do things, and especially if I think that, you know, I'm further along than I am, then you can cause more damage. So you need to be careful of how you process. And your injury may not be a physical one. It may be a broken relationship. It may be you're wondering if God has abandoned you. It may be you're struggling with validation. It may be that it is a physical one. It may be a lot of things. And truth be told, all those things I just named, I'm dealing with simultaneously. And then a few others that, you know, on top of that. So you got to be careful how you view things, because what you think you're seeing, you're not really seeing. And what you think is okay is not okay. It's just your mind, it plays tricks on you, and it gets you to a point where you start accepting things, and you want to be relieved from whatever that is oppressing or holding you down. And you find yourself looking and searching for outlets to just be free and to live your best life. Yes, we keep on this best life thing, because I think that is the attack from the pit of hell, that people are out here living their best life, and it's a destructive one. So if you, I'll lose interest quick in people that's, hey, I want to be happy. I want to just be free. I just want to be living my best life. I just don't want to do that's for me. I understand that easy path is different, and I'm not here advocating that difficulty for the sake of being difficult. But I'm thinking adversity really it helps you find out who you are. And absent of that, then you won't reach your full potential. So you gotta start to realize, like, why am I going through this? Why am I doing this? Like, start to question your troubles. Start to question, like, and start owning your part in that. And that's why I had to start doing this. Like, yes, there's a lot of stuff that has impacted me in my life, but there's a lot of brokenness that I caused, and there's a lot of things that is going on in me that still needs to be resolved. So I don't have room. I got to start working on me, because there's people that are connected to me that are depending on me to be better. There's a saying out there says, don't ask God to remove the problems to make your life easier. Ask God to make you stronger so you can endure that road that's you need to travel. So really start questioning what you're thinking, and then start questioning who's comforting you during these periods of time. Where are you getting your information from? Like, who's your trusted agent to give you life, to give you healing words? Who are your friends? And are they really your friends? Think about that. Are they contributing to the dysfunction, or are they actually helping in healing? Sometimes your best friend can be your worst enemy. Think about that. They mean to console you. They mean to thinking they're giving relief, and they're gonna seem like they're understanding. Oh, if I were you, or this and that, you shouldn't do this. You should just leave. You should just do that. I wouldn't do that if I were you. There's hidden agendas in those speeches. Whether they know it or not, I'm telling you there is a lot of hidden agendas being spoken in those words. They don't know, like, and I don't mean to say this like an indictment, but a lot of times the people who are that consoling, where they are in life, is nothing you probably would want to emulate. You're probably farther along than they are. And it's not a competition of who's further along, but it's like, man, they don't understand what it takes to really be you. They don't understand how difficult your role has been. And the thing about quitting is, like, it's contagious. You quit now, you'll quit again, and again, and again. It becomes a habit. And it becomes easier to do the next time. So you got to be mindful. Like, sometimes you may need to separate. And I'm talking to you, young kings, because this is a self-gratifying, best life environment. And people won't do the hard work that it takes to be better. They won't do it because it's hard work. I was just talking to my daughters the other day, and I let them know, I said, I'm going to give you the key to success during this time. And I've been telling them this all along. I said, in your generation, a strong work ethic is just equal as talent. Because people are so busy trying to get out of work as opposed to just buckling down and getting the work done. So, and I used to tell them as a kid, I said, look, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. But when talent works hard, it's hard to beat. And this easy road, I mean, it's going away. And I think, and I was talking to two of my daughters last night about the clandestine activities that's happening in the media with this best life theory, and just telling them, look, this is destroying people's dreams. I think it's an intentional warfare, psychological warfare that's going on. It's like, 400 years of bondage and slavery. And, you look in the book of Deuteronomy, it talks about after 400 years, they'll be free. But what happened is, like, and it happened physically with the Emancipation Proclamation, when that transpired, they were indications and things written that people were free, but there were a group of individuals that liked the security of Massa in its place. Like it would say, like Massa's been good to us. Like this is this is our home. He gives us something to eat. He gives us a job. You know, this is our security. So there's an element of people that were still wanted to be in bondage, even though they were free. So today, your challenge is start listening to the music that's going in your head and what you're seeing, and realize like what are you being programmed for? Like what information is being hidden in those songs? What information is being that's not in line with what you want to go? It's something different. Like you really got to start understanding, because I think this best life theory is an attack. It's an attack on your dream. It's an attack on your relationship. Not only with your significant other, but with God. You don't see that. You're elevating yourself and what you want above everyone else. And that's not spiritual at all. So I got a story, and it's going on 16 minutes. I want to try to wrap it up. But I got a few stories. I'm probably only going to do one. And it's a humbling story. I didn't even know if I wanted to share this, but I'll just come out and say it. Like, for me as a kid, you know, I peed in the bed until about 10, 11 years old. And it might even been later than that I stopped peeing in the bed. And it was an embarrassing thing to pee in a bed. But the reality of it is, in my mind, I wasn't peeing in the bed. And that's the trick of how deceptive your mind and your thoughts and your dreams can be. Like, in my mind, I got up and I went to the bathroom and I was peeing in the toilet. Now, there's other situations in dreams, and I remember them. Like, there's times I'll be like, man, you in the shower, and I'm in my dream. I mean, I'm still sleeping, but my mind is telling me I'm in the shower. Just pee in the shower, you know. And I'll be peeing in the shower, but little behold, in reality, I'm still peeing in the bed. And there's times to where I'll be in the pool, nasty as it is. I'm like, man, ain't nobody out here, just pee in the pool. And now I'm waking up in a pool of piss. Because in reality, what actually happened, I'm still peeing in the bed. And it went through that many years. I mean, most people start peeing in the bed a lot sooner than that. So look at this from a perspective. Like, now I have a master's degree, and then flew helicopters. I'm a lieutenant colonel in the Army. But reality of it is, I peed in the bed to about 11, 12, and I'm almost there to say almost 13 years old. That I still had trouble peeing in the bed, and it got less frequent as I got in those later stages of life, but I wouldn't do it every night. But it was going to happen at some time, multiple times in that week. I had a situation in my head that I thought I was in a different place than I was, and the reality that I'm still asleep. And in my mind, I'm woke. I'm doing the right thing. In my mind, it's right. I mean, hey, I got up and I went to the bathroom. My mind convinced me, and I believed it. And my physical expression, my body, my response was, hey, it's okay to do this. This is normal. Whether it be the shower, whether it be the pool. There's times I just like, all right, pull over. I got to go off to the side of the road. I was peeing on trees. But really, the reality of it is, all those things were fake. I was just peeing on myself in the bed. So, and it was to a point where it was like, it was destructive. And I used to get whoopings for that, for peeing in the bed. And, you know, and it was, not only did I have the embarrassment of peeing in the bed, but then I got the consequence behind peeing in the bed. The consequence behind me acting on something that I thought was real, but wasn't real at all. So it was just a figment of my imagination, and I acted on it, meaning that I released, you know, and peed in the bed, but the consequence was real. That whooping it was real. And as I was walking this morning, I started thinking about that. I was like, you know what? Your mind is powerful, but it can be dangerous at the same time because it can convince you that something is really real and it's not. It can be destructive. Like, call it stinking thinking. Like, everything that thought that comes in your head, I mean, you need to question it. Why am I thinking this way? Why am I this way? And is it beneficial for me to do it like this? Because those mind attacks are strong, and I think that's why this generation that's coming up is like the resiliency is reduced. Like, and there's some other stories that I want to get to, but I want to finish the train of thought on this one because this it was a very interesting weekend that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about now, and I'm just trying to channel out those thoughts, and it may resurface in another video. But back to that mind, it's like vividly you can see things. You can look at two people can look at the same thing and see something totally different. It's possible that you can be seeing wrong. It's possible that what you think is real is not. And you can be making steps and doing things off of false information. And I think that's the thing with math. It's like when you get into algebra and geometry and trigonometry and all that other different math, it's like it builds on the basics. So if you miss a step in the beginning, no matter what you do from that point on, your answer is going to be altered because you got a false input in there and it's not going to give you the correct output. So when you're going through this formula and deductive reasoning, just looking at the information and being able to see the different things on there, you got to realize, do you have all the necessary information to make this decision? And that's why it's important to check your circle and make sure that people are giving you good information, or that they have your best interest in mind. And I have a pretty good circle. You know, they would have called me out on my bullshit a lot. And it's like, Drew, Andrew, man, nah, that was you, man. I don't see it that way. Eric and Cam, you know, they tell me the truth. And, you know, at times I hear it and I still do something different, but it doesn't stop them from telling me, you know, that. So, and I love those guys for that, you know, to become those sounding boards for me. They tell me, like, nah, you didn't see that right. But in return, I do the same for them. Like, don't sugarcoat things, and, you know, we able to be transparent and still navigate through our friendship and understand, like, it's not always going to be in agreement, you know. So who do you have in your corner? Who's your advisor? Are they really your friend, you know, or not? Are the things you're thinking about, are they really real? I know it seems real, but you might be just laying in piss. I mean, it's a pissy situation, you know. You think it's real. So, wrapping up, we're going on 25 minutes, but I do want to give you a scripture on this, and this is anti-best life, and I think it's let me say not anti-best life. I had to correct myself. It's redefining your best life. Like this weekend, I had a family function, and it was a joyful time. I mean, very blissful, and the fellowship, the food, the everything was just amazing in there. But the thing about it, to me, that was like my best life. Like, but there's elements in me like, man, I could go out and be doing something for myself and just having fun for myself. Like, I can be selfish, but being selfish, it wouldn't just hurt me, but it's going to hurt generations of people after me. So that decision you make, although it's your decision to make, you're not the only one impacted by that decision. Think about, don't use your brokenness to break other people. So today it's Matthew 16:24. And I'm just going to read a few chapters in there, and we'll go from there. Um, then it says, then Yeshua said to his disciples, if anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. For what would it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? So in there, Yeshua is saying, like, man, that's not an easy road. That's not his best life. That's not, hey, live for the moment, YOLO, you only live once. That's not that. That's not what he just said. So where's this best life at in this text? Because it says, if anyone wishes to come after me. So that means, and I'm guilty of not coming after him. I'm guilty of seeking ye first myself, not the kingdom of God. I'm guilty of seeking ye first me first. But this here says, if anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself. And I understood that at a young age. And I'll kind of show you, like, that's why I have tattooed on my chest. Deny yourself. So this ain't a new lesson to me. This is something that I've had this on in 20 plus years now. Because I understood that in word, but in practice. And I treated myself, well, I won't even say treated myself, but in my younger years, and I started progressing in my career, I thought I was treating myself well. You know, I ate what I wanted to eat. You know, I had, different, inappropriate relationships with women. And I thought, man, I'm living life. But then the results of that living kept me in a broken state later. So a lot of people want to live their best life, but man, I'm telling you, that best life now is going to be your worst life later. When you start reaping the seeds of that, and I'm trying to pray that God share mercy and grace on me to abbreviate some of the destruction, those seeds that I sowed early in life. I'm trying to repair from a lot of bad decisions I made. But it says, if anyone, so are you following them? Are you going to take up your cross? Or you just want to be out doing what you want to do? Because love is one of those things. I think it's people like, man, if it was love, it wouldn't hurt. If it was love, they wouldn't do this, they wouldn't do that. If it was love, this wouldn't happen this way. Who told you love didn't hurt? Because it says take up your cross. Do you know what happened to Yeshua on that cross? Do you know why he was up there? Not because it felt good. Not because he was living his best life. Those nails hurt. That pierced side hurt. But that pierced side was pierced for love. I'm not advocating abuse or tolerating anything that doesn't need to be tolerated. But what I am advocating is carrying that cross, not looking for the easy road out. It's time to get strong. It's time to be resilient. Because you think you're saving your life, but you're losing it. You think by doing the right thing and enduring that cross and that hardship, like, what was me playing victim? Like, nobody lives forever. Why would I go and endure this? But it says, if you lose it for my sake, you will find it. So if you're saying you lose it for my sake, you will find it. Why would you want to be lost? What would you give in exchange for it? So now I'm at a point in my life where I'm starting to get mad at things that's contrary to what I want in my life. No more of this destructive pattern. Like, my life is intentional now. Like, I feel like I've been tricked by myself by doing things that I know that I shouldn't be doing, and then getting mad when I don't get the results I want. There's a saying out there say, when you do stupid stuff, stupid is your reward. Don't be stupid today, young kings. Time to get wise. And I was going to close on that, but I've been telling you about Proverbs, and today's the 17th. So read Proverbs 17, and when you get there, it talks about, in 17:12, it says, let a man meet a bear robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. I'm going to read that again so you can understand that. It says, let a man meet a bear robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. Stay away from fools, because you dealing with fools, you're going to end up with something that you think is real, and you're going to end up just in a pool of piss, laying in bed, wet, and then you're going to have a consequence behind that. So stay strong, young kings. Have a great day. Be blessed.